The Dodo film project is a very wacky film project. The idea was to do something slightly quirky and just weird, honestly, you know. We wanted to have fun with the idea of putting together a little film company, but without it being a very corporate and really sort of formal thing, you know. We wanted something more relaxed. The idea is to keep looking for projects that are mostly in the English language realm. That's what we want to specialize in. But currently, we're also working on some Spanish language projects, and we look forward to doing more collaborations with other people. But yeah, we wanted to give it a more distinct English language orientation. The idea for the Dodo film project came... How did it come about? I've always been into natural history, and I think it's one of the most fascinating subjects. I just found the dodo to be a very interesting sort of species, but also as a character, I think it's a funny one. You think of the dodo scene in Ice Age, for example, and the way the dodos are portrayed as just this lump of idiots, basically, you know, who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and they end up creating their own demise, essentially. So I thought that was a very fun idea, and looking at it from almost a Python-esque angle.
It was a very bizarre creature for 17th century Europe. Something you may not know is they belong to the same family as pigeons, but it's also the archetype of human-caused extinction. So it can be a very tragic character, like a Hamlet, but with more feathers, you know? And then you have the dodo in popular culture, like the Victorian illustrations by John Tennell for Alice in Wonderland. We've had a sillier representation of the bird ever since, even though we know from modern studies that they weren't morbidly obese or stupid. So, if anything, I now like to see the misconception behind the dodo as actually a mirror of us humans. I guess you could see the logo as a parody of how we see the world.
An alternative title would have been Dodo Film or Dodo Films, but funnily enough, it already existed in London, England. So I realized that after settling for the Dodo Film project, so it was just a case of good luck, I suppose. I think my dream project right now for the Dodo Film project would be to do something more along the lines of a nature documentary. I was always very influenced by nature growing up, and I think one of the biggest aspirations I've always had, and especially now in terms of filmmaking, would be to do something related to nature. Very much a fan of David Attenborough and all the Nat Geo stuff on wildlife and conservation, so I would absolutely love to do something like that. Taking advantage of the place we're in, Costa Rica, I think it would be an incredible thing to do, a more high-end production eventually that takes advantage of the nature that we have here. Or this whole idea of conservation that is very much a part of the Costa Rican image. If you click subscribe and you hit that notifications bell on the screen, I think what you can expect is a different angle to the universe.